tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
There we have it, guys. Our Maron intro music that we've all come to love. What's up, everyone? We are here recapping this week's Maron episode right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. This week we are covering episode 7 of our season 3 that we're currently on. Mark's niece is what we watched tonight. It was an excellent episode. We had some great comedian cameos. We love those. We love those from Mark's episode for sure. Very excited for tonight's episode. We have a lot going on. We have a lot to cover. It's going to be fantastic. Let's start by turning that off. That's probably good, so we don't hear that sound. All right, back into it. Let's see. As you can tell, my counterpart, Jared, is MIA tonight, so I will be holding it down. That's first and foremost. If you want to get in touch with Jared, see whatever he's up to tonight, you can reach out to him on Twitter at Gilkerson Radio. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you. You, of course, can always find us on YouTube at youtube.com/AfterBuzz TV, and on SoundCloud and iTunes, anywhere that you do your podcasting, of course. We are there, and you should find us because it's excellent, excellent stuff. I am joined tonight instead by my fantastic engineer, Marissa. How's it going, girl?
I'm good. How are you, Blake?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for tonight.
I'm excited to hear what you have
This
to
is
say
going to
about
be great.
this episode.
I know it's an exciting night.
Yeah.
You just wait. I, of course, am your host, Blake V. You can reach out to me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media, and always feel free to interact using hashtag ABTVMaron. Always checking that on Twitter and everything else. So please reach out, please comment, reach out to me on YouTube if you're watching live right now. That's always fun. Since Jared is gone and we're holding down the fort tonight by ourselves, feel free to call in. How about that? Give us your thoughts, chime in about the episode. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about life. Whatever you got going on, call in. You can find the phone number in my Twitter feed at Blake V Media. All the information you need is there. Check it out. Get the call-in number and let's chat. It's going to be amazing.
Listening right now, the call-in number is actually 424-256-1633.
There you have it. Marissa hooking it up. So now there's no excuse. Get those calls in. That's right. So to kind of kick things off, before we really get into the episode tonight, we had a pretty big piece of history happen this week since our last Maron after show. Our boy, Mr. Marc Maron himself, had the President of the United States, Barack Obama, on his WTF podcast this week. It was insane. It was such an amazing accomplishment, right? If you haven't listened to the podcast yet, you need to do it. It's excellent. This episode in particular, I mean, number one, it's history. Number two, it's just really, really good. I feel like Mark did a really good job. I mean, how hard would that be? How difficult would that be to figure out your questions for your conversation with the president? Nerve-wracking, so nerve-wracking. And to figure out how exactly you're gonna take that conversation that the world will hear if they choose to listen to it. So it's like, you know, I totally give him so much credit for just figuring out the way that he was gonna go about it and navigate it. I feel like that was so stressful. I feel like he did a really good job, though. It's like a good mix of some, you know, political, hard-hitting questions, but also like trying to get to know the president as a guy, as a dude. And it's great. I really liked it. Marissa, did you get a chance to listen to it yet? How cool would that be to figure?
I have not yet, but
it's excellent.
I'm really excited because this, you know, it just shows where the podcast industry is heading.
100%.
We're interviewing, Maron is interviewing the freaking president. Who else?
Yeah.
This is just the start.
Completely. I mean, he like single-handedly changed the idea of podcasting. You know, he's made it so that anyone with a podcast can essentially reach the president, speak to the president, be the platform that the president uses to reach out to the country and the world.
Yeah, and the cool thing is Maron did it in his garage, his little setup studio, and that's how AfterBuzz started. So
there you have it.
Why not?
There you have it. It's all about the humble beginnings. You see? So if you have the passion for it, if you are determined and you want to do it, you can get there. Mr. Maron got there, AfterBuzz got there, and here we are tonight, recapping it all for you and touching on this important piece of history that happened. You know, it's funny. I wonder how it happened, how it came together. Who reached out to who? It's funny. I get this vision of Mark asking his assistant Ryan, like, hey, just reach out to the president's people. No big deal. See if the president's willing to come on.
I wonder if Barack Obama is actually a fan of podcasting himself. Maybe he just wanted to be on the show.
Well, you know what's funny is that was one of the questions that Mark asked him. Was he asked him if he was into comedy, if he appreciated it on any level, and he does. In fact, specifically, he says that he, of course, historically loved Richard Pryor. Currently loves Louis C.K. He says he loves his kind of strange backward delivery as Louis C.K. has. And he's a fan of Maron's, obviously, because he came on the show. So, you know, he's pretty up with it, you know? Like, he's up with kind of what's going on. And he, or the people around him, are really seeing how important podcasting is and, like, the reach that it has, you know?
Well, and that's also the great thing about podcasting, because, you know, being the president, he's so freaking busy, but listening to podcasts, you can multitask like no other, and I'm sure that's what he does on a daily basis. So
that's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Simple podcasts,
and you don't have to be rich.
Boom.
Yeah, and you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be purchasing cable. It really is accessible to everybody. And I bet that's a large reason of why the president wanted to highlight that area, you know, to say, like, this is for the every person. Every person can have access to podcasting, and it's a great forum. And especially for the president. I know he chose it. He could have gone anywhere, but he went to WTF Podcast with Marc Maron. It's so awesome. Great. I know, right? And so some of the highlights that you can look for, of course, on the podcast, if you're gonna check it out. It's really interesting. Mark really covered a large scope with the president, and everywhere from kind of his beginnings as a young kid and kind of his youth struggles and kind of his race identity issues, all the way to, of course, the horrible Charleston, incident that happened just recently. That's, of course, really fresh on everybody's mind. He touched on that with the president. It had just happened a couple days prior to them taping this podcast, so it was definitely prevalent in the conversation. He tried to get to know him, just like become homies with him. It was kind of great. He got to know a little bit more about his daughters and his family life and Michelle, and
it was a very intimate interview.
Completely intimate. Yeah, like I feel like Mark really covered a lot of good topics, all kinds of good stuff with the president. So that's definitely something to look out for. It was funny too because they got right into the conversation, and at the very end of it, Mark said, "What could I have done better?" Or how did you feel about this? And the president was like, "I would have liked a little nicer ease into the conversation." Because they got right down to business. But that's kind of how Mark is. He's direct. He's to the point. He takes it there.
To get people just automatically engaged.
Totally.
Just go right into it.
Yep. And when you listen to it, it really started very organically anyways. So I think it was handled well. It was good. Of course, we're fans of Maron here. But congratulations and kudos and everything great to him for making that happen and doing such a great job and really, really kind of handling this conversation for the masses and bringing it to everyone through podcasting, as we, of course, here at AfterBuzz are huge fans of, huge proponents of, and we are thrilled and excited to be able to mention this and highlight this piece of history.
Yeah, it's a milestone.
Such a milestone. Absolutely. All right. Now that we've covered all that POTUS information, speaking of podcasting and kind of interacting, and of course interacting with us here at AfterBuzz and me, of course, your host at Blake V Media, one thing that we would really like to mention to you is that we love your messages so much, and we love your interactions so much that it would be wonderful if you would head on over to podcast1.com and take part in our very important listener survey. It won't take very long. It'll only take about 3 minutes. And once you're there, we just want to get all of your input on these episodes, any of your opinions or responses, anything you want to chime in on about any of our shows here at AfterBuzz. We love all this information because it helps us make these shows better for you and give you exactly what you want to see and what you want to hear. And we really want to tailor everything to suit you guys because you guys are the ones that make it happen, everybody tuning in and taking a part in this with us. So head on over to podcast1.com, take this really brief survey, tell us how you really feel, and of course, keep all those comments and interaction coming. We love it. Podcast1.com, that's where you need to be right after this, after you watch this. All right,
I mean,
so.
if the president can go on Maron after show, or not after show, for
his
podcast
podcast.
in general, you know, for a full
That's
hour.
right. You can pay a little
People
visit to
think that's just
podcast1.com.
podcast1.com.
That's right. That's right, guys. Okay, cool. So, season 3, episode 7, Mark's niece. Totally a funny episode, as usual. We get to meet Mark's niece, Sydney, of course, and the episode opens with Mark really showing his really how he doesn't quite understand teenagers. His young teenage niece comes to visit, comes to stay for a couple days, and he has no idea what he's doing. He's completely clueless to this whole entire scenario, and he's like, okay, well, what am I going to do with this? He gets on the phone with his brother. His brother, of course, calls the niece to check in. He takes the phone and gets on the phone with her, and he's giving Mark all the warnings of what to expect, essentially, being there with the niece. And the brother says, "Don't trust her. Don't let her leave the house looking like a whore. Don't do all these things." And Mark is like, "What are you talking about? None of these things are even prevalent." I liked it because Mark saw the outfit she was about to leave the house in, and of course, it was a little questionable or something. And Mark gives her the sweatshirt thinking she would change into like a sweatshirt and jeans or something. And instead she just puts the sweatshirt over her outfit so it looks like exactly the same. She like cut the collar off it so it's like hanging off the shoulder. It like did nothing for the outfit. He's like, "Oh, that's great. That's a great improvement. Thanks." He also is trying to get to know his niece by asking her what she likes. And what she's, into. And he's like listing off a list of things. And one of those things is murdering. Do you like murdering? I think that's my favorite line of the episode tonight. What does that mean? Who likes that? I guess teenagers, in Mark's mind. That's what they like.
It's always funny trying to always see an older man's perspective on how to engage with the younger female audience.
It is hilarious.
I'm just trying to figure out the mindset of a teenage girl.
Totally. And you know who also deals with that a lot is Louis on his show. He is always kind of having that juxtaposition of like middle-aged man trying to get along with the younger generation, specifically younger female generation, or like, he has daughters in the episode. So it's really kind of funny that now Mark is kind of introducing this into his episode with his niece and just really having like no grasp on teenagers. I gotta say though, like kids and teenagers are very difficult to read and get along with for anybody. Like for me.
Very, very.
Do you have that same issue?
I know, I agree, and I think that's why the storyline works so often, and not just Maron and Louis C.K., but like movies in general. Like,
totally.
That's why you hear the storyline all the time, because it really is real.
It is.
It happens so often.
It is. And it's because like every day, life and technology changes and kids are just like on it so fast that everybody else cannot even keep up and cannot even process. And we see exactly that with this episode because in this whole search of trying to figure out what his teenage niece likes, he enlists the help of fellow comedian Whitney Cummings, which, we all love her, of course. She was his bridge to the teenage world, and he was kind of trying to pick her mind and see what is going on with the niece, how can he connect to her, and together they kind of pull from her information of what she likes, and what she likes is YouTube entertainment. And she has this guy, this YouTube star, Shad, who apparently gets like 2 million views a day, and it's like it's the future. It's the future. You know, we're talking right now about Marc Maron kind of being the pioneering podcasting guy, getting the president, bringing that to the world. But in this episode, he totally makes himself look like the aged, ancient one with this kind of old idea. Oh, podcasting, who does that? Because YouTube is now the thing. And the teenager loves YouTube. And things are so crazy on YouTube now that that's a whole nother thing. It's like a whole nother piece of, you know, technology that's like taking over. It's the next thing. It's the new TV. YouTube.
It is.
Do you have any YouTube favorites, Marissa? Do you have anything that you tune into or check out on YouTube?
I like the musical talent. The people who can sing and act and dance all encompassing into one. Like Kurt Schneider's one of my favorites.
Oh.
He's an amazing musician.
Nice.
But he's brilliant, and he's very creative in how he films his music videos and renditions of popular songs. Awesome.
That's so cool.
I like the artistic, creative people.
Nice. And that's what's so cool about YouTube also is that it also is accessible to anyone, and anyone can put their content on it. So it's like we are really living in the most interesting time of just being able to, everybody having equal opportunity to put their content up, utilizing podcasts and YouTube and all kind of stuff.
Hey, that's AfterBuzz.
That's right. AfterBuzz does it all. They do it all. So of course, Marc trying to connect with the niece and figuring out this whole YouTube connection. He is kind of trying to figure out how to make this a reality for her. And simultaneously, he gets recommended that he should reach out to Andy Dick, of course, because Andy Dick is the bridge to really anything you need, I'm sure. I don't think it's limited only to YouTube stars and YouTube talent. I feel like probably there's a lot of things in this world that Andy Dick is probably the bridge to. But anyways, Marc then invites Andy to be on his podcast. And of course, I love those moments when they highlight who the podcast guests are. And we have this moment with Andy, who's just a lunatic. He's just an insane man. Very insane. So he's got this court-mandated one-man show that he's doing now because he's gotten in so much trouble with the law over the past few years. It's like he just can't get it together. But I guess now he's like toning it down. He calls this version of himself Boring Andy, which is still not even boring. It's still as sane as always. But he's got this one-man show that he's doing called Dicked. Because he's Andy Dick. That's why. Hilarious, right? So
I'm surprised he could get away with the title like that.
I know, right? Right?
That's definitely explicit, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah. People who don't know that he's Andy Dick. I know. That's pretty. Thanks for taking it there, Andy. Of course he would. Yeah, and then so he leaves his podcast moment with Marc, of course, meeting his Marc's niece Sydney, and he's trying to make a good impression on Sydney, trying to kind of show that he connects to kids. He's got a bunch of kids. He knows kids. He's good with this connection. He meets her. He shakes her hand. He's trying to give her spaghetti arm as he's saying hello to her. And then Marc immediately calls attention to it, makes fun of him. He's like, whoa. Don't take me immediately from spaghetti arms to pedophile. That's not what's happening here. And of course, Andy Dick says that and does that as only Andy Dick could, right? So that's his moment on the podcast, of course. But from that, Marc makes the connection that he could be the one to get his niece Sydney in contact with the YouTube sensation Shad. So, Andy makes it happen. He delivers. Marc brings the niece to meet YouTube sensation Shad, and Shad is just a total. He's a total d-bag. That's what he is. He's just cocky and lives in this multi-million-dollar mansion in the hills, and all from YouTube. He's this YouTube sensation. So he's totally dogging on Marc, saying like, "Come on, old man. Don't you want some help from my 2 million viewers a day?" And Marc's like, "Okay, whatever, I'll play along." He totally takes advantage of Marc, and Marc has no idea what is even going on. And Shad really tries to sell him on the idea of the Shad bump for his viewership. That's what he plans on giving his viewership, the Shad bump. So, I wonder if a lot of YouTube stars really are like that. I wonder if they really behave that way.
I don't know. I think, especially for a show, they're definitely amping up and over-exaggerating the personalities.
Yeah.
But I like to think on some level they are like that, which would make it very entertaining.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And then it just makes me think like, oh my God, how do you end up making so much money on YouTube? It's just the craziest thing. Like to be in that small circle of like that level and making it to where you are living in the hills of Hollywood, making millions a year, making silly YouTube videos. And so many of them are so silly. Like Marissa, your favorites are like the people who are extremely talented musically, dance-wise, you know, triple threats, like true talents of this world.
Oh, yeah.
So much success comes from nothing. It's literally just like, I don't know what, luck and
really,
timing.
Yeah, that too. And then there are so many videos that people love just for a quick laugh.
Yes.
And they keep going back to it because it literally takes 10 seconds to laugh.
Yes,
That's it.
that's true.
And
like
then the day is made.
Yeah, like a mindless moment that is just
It takes
given to you.
And I get it. It removes you from reality and, you know, you laugh.
Yeah.
That's it.
True. Is that maybe that's all we need? That's all we need in life. It's just a little something to make us laugh.
Yeah.
So everyone get on YouTube. That's your formula. That's your formula for success. So of course, what was also funny about Shad's house is that this is a house that we have once again revisited because we've seen this numerous times in this season and in previous seasons, which was previously Ray Romano's house in the season. So it's pretty funny that Mark keeps recycling this house. I wonder what the story is behind this house too. Like maybe he really does know who lives there, or there's some like, or maybe it's his house. I mean, who knows? It's
Ray Romano's pretty funny too.
Totally,
Love
totally.
him.
And the episode that they introduced this house on was that Ray Romano lived there. And that was like a hilarious episode. Ray did a fantastic job. Like we all know him from Everybody Loves Raymond, of course. Yeah.
And Parenthood.
Totally. And especially on Everyone Loves Raymond, he's kind of like the downtrodden dad. And he's just like, okay, Deborah. Like he's just, you know, whatever, doing whatever everyone tells him. Yeah. And then on Maron, when he brings him on, he's like, totally like another D-bag. He's like just totally like writing Mark off and just kind of being very arrogant and nonchalant, not at all how you expect him and his character. So that's pretty funny. I definitely like that. But yes, this house, like I would love to know the backstory because they keep using it. They keep bringing it up in all these episodes. And it doesn't matter, like in this season alone, this is the second time they've brought this house up and like various people live in it in different times. So it's like, it's not even a consistent residence.
So there's different histories.
Yes. Yeah, like 2 or 3 episodes ago, he had comedian Bruce on the show, and Bruce lived in the house. Now, apparently, Bruce sold it to Shad because Shad is taken up in this sweet house now, and they keep reintroducing the house. Love to know what the history on that is. So, of course, a funny thing, too, is that Mark is really trying to be like the cool uncle. He's really trying to, you know, connect with his niece and have them be on the same level and just like not, you know, engage his brother, the niece's father. Really just trying to like be the cool uncle and make it happen. So he took her to meet the YouTube star and, you know, they made this connection and everything. So he gets a call from his brother who says, "Where are you at the Hollywood Hills, like late at night?" And Mark's like, "What are you talking about? How do you even know this?" And he's like, "I have GPS on my daughter's cell phone and she's somewhere up in the hills." And Mark runs to the bedroom where the niece is staying. The niece is nowhere in sight. And he immediately is like, "Oh geez, I've lost her. She's gone. She's gone someplace to the Hollywood Hills." He tells the brother, Oh, that exact address? So funny. That's exactly where we are. That GPS looks great. I'll connect with you later, because he's trying to cover for the niece, right? So he goes to that address, which again happens to be the YouTube star's house. And Sydney has snuck out to go to a party at Shad's, which Andy Dick also happens to be at as well, because of course he is. He's the link. He's the bridge to anything in Hollywood, I'd say. That should be his tagline.
I believe that too, because he might be a triple threat himself. Because he used to dance. He began Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
He was on Dancing with the Stars.
He is. I feel like Andy Dick may be a man of many talents. He may be, he may be more than just a triple threat. He's a very interesting fellow. I feel like he's got a lot of skills under his belt.
Yeah. A lot of tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, a lot of tricks up his sleeve, that guy. So, of course, he was chilling jacuzzi style at Shad's house. And Mark comes in, he busts in, he's trying to get a hold of his niece and figure out where she is. She, of course, is like a mess. She has taken it too far. She's drunk and underage, and Shad is trying to, exploit her and film her and try to put it up for his own, whatever, YouTube gain. So Mark steps in and rescues her, and he has kind of this moment with her. He removes her from the party, and they're outside, and she is sick, and she pukes, and he holds her hair, and it's like a cute moment. As ridiculous as it is, it's nice that she has such a fun, understanding uncle, So he takes her away from the party. It shows them the next day where he's returning her essentially to her uncle. And he's on the phone with the brother, her father, of course, and he's saying, no, nothing happened. All was good. All was good on the home front this weekend with Sydney, and completely did not rat her out and totally made it seem like she was an angel, and she completely wasn't. And he's like, do I get any credit for this? Not ratting you out? And she's like, whatever.
Such a teenage response.
Like a total B,
I'd be saying, thank you. You're
right?
my favorite uncle.
Right? Like, yes, thank you so much. Thank you for not getting me grounded for the rest of my life, or whatever her punishment would have been. I know. Totally. So, of course, we come upon the end of the episode. Mark always likes to give his final thoughts of of what he's learned, of what wisdom he's gained over the episode. And he is a man with no children. I believe he's not currently married. He is a single man making things happen. And he says that, having his niece around did bring up some paternal instincts. He wanted to help her and feed her and rescue her and, give her a pleasant time and, take care of her while she came for her stay. But bottom line, he realized that teenagers are dicks. His words.
Teenagers are terrible. No, I completely agree. Do you
right?
agree?
I know. There's no winning. There's really no winning.
You really can't win with teenagers.
You can't. You really can't. So, kudos to him and any other person with teens in their lives trying to connect.
The best of luck.
Yeah, the best of luck to you.
Teenage years will eventually come to an end.
Ugh, yikes. It's serious. Oh. Seriously scary. Ugh. And then I just think back to when I was a teenager, and that was scary too for anyone who was on the receiving end. So it's
you used to. Well, I'm not saying that you used to be a party animal like she was, but we were teenage girls at one point.
Oh yes,
we had our days.
Yeah, we had our days. That is so true, Marissa.
And we still have our days.
We still have our days from time to time.
A little bit more mature about
it. I know, and it's just funny because it's like you go through that period and you're just like, it is you against the world. Mm-hmm. And you are just not trying to listen to anyone, and it just is what it is. But at the same time, it just it scares the hell out of me for if I ever have kids one day. I'm like, A lot of it's like, nah, not so appealing. And apparently for Mark either. He has no kids. He's had his fill of the weekend with his niece, and that was enough for him. Teenagers are difficult, and so is YouTube. So are YouTube sensations, apparently.
But that's the greatest thing about being an aunt or an uncle. Is you still get the feel like you have kids with your nieces and nephews, and you get them for a day or however long for a temporary short amount of stay,
and then you give them on back.
Give it back.
That's right. Back.
I do it with my life. It's great.
Yeah.
And then
oh my God.
I'm rendered as the cool aunt.
Nice.
So
how old are your nieces and nephews?
My nieces and nephews range from 4 years old to 15 years old.
Oh, so you've got it all.
Yeah.
You've got little kids and teens and oh goodness.
Yeah.
Do you have times where you get them all together at once?
Yeah. It's
oh
crazy.
Goodness. Mm-hmm. Is it stressful?
I'm the kind of person that they come to me before they ask their own parents for something cool.
Oh, check out that relationship.
I'm that person.
And then how do you handle that? Do you just take it as a compliment, or do you then go back to the parents?
I take it as a compliment because I feel good about myself. But then at the end of the day, I always tell the parents, like, you know what, this happened, letting you know. But I mean, if it's a serious thing, then I'll be like, no, ask your parents.
Right. Like, this is not for me. Yeah. This is not within my my wheelhouse.
The great thing about being an aunt or an uncle. You know, you always get your fun share time with the kids and then send them back.
I know, that's the best part. Send them on back. Kids are a tough commitment. They really are. But maybe with this whole connection to the internet, be it kids or your own connection to YouTube or podcasting or whatever the future is bringing to you, another thing that you can take advantage of is something really exciting that I want to let you guys know about real quick. This is the announcement that you can now apply to Dance Battle America, ABC's newest competition special. From our very own founder and host, Maria Menounos. Maria Menounos. Sorry about that. Our girl right here at AfterBuzz TV, Maria and Julianne Hough from Dancing with the Stars. They are bringing to ABC this special Dance Battle America. It's so exciting. So during the holidays over the last couple years, Julianne and Maria have engaged in some fearsome dance battles via social media. All this internet connectivity we've been talking about, right? And once the challenge took off, all kinds of celebrities were engaging in this challenge, like Kate Hudson and Amber Riley. Everybody was joining in, and then this craze began. Well, it got so intense that the ladies have now decided to challenge everyone in America to battle it out for the chance to fly to Los Angeles and compete on the dance show in person here in LA. So this is, without a doubt, the opportunity of a lifetime. This is amazing, right? So exciting.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and so if you want the chance to dance on network television, all you have to do is go to dancebattleamericacasting.com, and all the information is there. You can find out everything you need to know on how to submit a video. And just remember, you don't have to be a pro like Julianne or any of the other professionals you may see. Just have fun with it. That's all we want you to do. Be yourself, bring it, whatever you want to bring to this dance battle. That's what we want to see. That's what we like. So, just keep that in mind. That's why the dance battle took off and is such a success that it is now. So definitely submit your dance video. Again, as soon as you're done watching this, head over to podcast1.com first and then get your dance video ready and head over to dancebattleamericacasting.com. Hook it up. It's going to be super exciting. You know you got moves. You know you want to show those to everyone. Well, we want to see them. So get it ready. Get it ready, people. All right, Marissa. I think we dissected everything we could tonight.
Awesome.
How about that? Once again, just another really cool mention to Marc and how how excellent his podcast was this week. It just was really monumental and historical, and we're just very proud and excited that it was podcasting that took it there. And of course, as fans of Marc, we're very excited that he was able to make that happen on his podcast. It was fantastic. Everyone check it out. History has been made, so you owe it to yourself to take a listen.
Who would be next? Who's his next biggest guest?
I know. He's he's huge now. He's in the big leagues, Marc.
Yeah.
He just interviewed the president. He's
Now we get Flotus?
Yeah. Oh, we better have Flotus. Is she next week? Marc.
That'd be cool.
That's right. Follow it up with some Flotus action.
I mean, you might as well.
We like that. All right. So be sure to check us out, of course, on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. You can take a look at any of our previous shows and any other shows that we have on AfterBuzz TV. It's a lot of great stuff to choose from. I have been your host, Blake V. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Blake V Media. And also send a shout out to my counterpart at Gilkerson Radio. He'd love to hear from you guys. You can also find me on my YouTube show, Winos and Onesies. So check that out. It's a lot of fun over there. And thanks so much for joining me tonight, guys. It was so much fun. I am excited for next week. And Jared should be back. So we'll have a lot to bring to you next week. Thanks, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.